Jay here, Stretford Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, we're live. We're in the studio. That means you lot need to get involved in the chat and the comments. Let us know what you think about all the latest Manchester United news. And also, please do subscribe to the channel if you've not done already. We want to get to 750,000 subscribers by the end of, well, say the end of the season, by the end of this week, to be honest with you. And with your support, we should be able to get there. We're almost there. If you've not done it so far, then just hit that subscribe button. Let's get to 750,000 subscribers. Loads of stories to get through. We've got this Wayne Rooney on the overlap. We've got a little bit of a story around there. We've got a story about some transfer incomings as well. Todibo, Branthwaite. We're going to get into all that. Also, Sir Jim's sort of plans for the future. There's going to be talk about spending plans. So we'll get into that. So make sure you are hitting that like button. If you're not doing already, please share this video. Loads of people in the chat. Oh me, just that Vic. Oh my, OMG, is that Vic? There you go, we got there in the end. Morning Jay, John Henry, Mick Hollahan, Santa Notch, this is J-Time, Dan United, 94, Alex, Wayne Davies, loads of other people as well. Sorry if I miss anyone out. Right, let's start with this Wayne Rooney story. Wayne Rooney chatting on the overlap. He revealed, this is quite funny this, because I remember this at the time, there was a rumour going around this had happened. When Wayne Rooney handed in a transfer request, there was a lot of anger felt towards him by Manchester United fans. A lot of that anger came from the fact that he was going to seemingly go to City. There was a lot of rumours that he was going to go to City. And then he did obviously end up staying. But in the meantime, when he was the rumours that he was going to go to City, there was also rumours through the rounds that Scholesy had done a bit of a nasty challenge on him in training because Rooney then was injured. He was out for a little while, and he's revealed here in the overlap that actually was true. That I think Scholes had booted him in training, and he says here that he thinks he says he's joking that Sir Alex Ferguson might have even encouraged it because there was a lot of yeah, everyone was a bit miffed with Wayne Rooney. There was even reports that some United fans had gone round to his house to have a word with him and said, "You listen, you're not leaving, or you can't leave us. You can't leave us and go to Manchester City." I don't know how true those reports were, but this one about him getting injured in training certainly does seem to be some truth to it. Quite funny as well, because I don't know. I mean, I'm not being all conspiracy theorist, but the fact that he recently say that Gerrard was better than Scholes, maybe he's still holding a little bit of bitterness. That'd explain it more to me than actually thinking that Gerrard was better than Scholes, because that's just insane. Yeah, so you can see there, Wayne Rooney having a little bit of a joke, saying maybe Sir Alex put Scholesy up to it, but just a funny little story there. Because I remember at the time, this was a rumour doing the rounds that Scholesy's giving him a bit of a reducer in training to teach him a lesson. Let me know what you think about that one. Some interesting quotes and stories coming out of that interview. It's not really an interview anymore, is it, with them two? I think Rooney's on the overlap quite a lot, but they've had a little bit of a chat, and he's always a good box office character in Wayne Rooney. I saw him on, I was seeing that clip doing the rounds from the FA Cup final where he was taking a mick out of Mickey Richards for going to, was it Wings in town? We've all been there, to celebrate his 50th Premier League appearance. Have you not seen it? Go and check it out. He's a funny guy. I also liked him as well for the Newcastle game when they had him, Keane, I think it was him, Keane and Andy Cole on together. That works really well. So yeah, I'm liking seeing Wayne Rooney on media. He's doing well, even if I don't agree with everything he's saying. Let's talk about Jean-Clair Todibo, because this one's been doing rounds for a little while, and it's now come out that he's spoken about the Manchester United link. So you can see it in the Standard. It says Manchester United once again linked with Jean-Clair Todibo, who was also interested in Tottenham in the past. And he says here, "It's nice to hear all the compliments," he told the Mail when asked about his transfer future. "I'm trying to stay focused on my game and my teammates, but for sure I am open to playing in the Premier League." When pressed on a specific move to United, he replied, "I'm going to keep that for me. Nice try." So not really giving too much away, but he's certainly not coming out and sort of saying, "Oh, I'm going to stay at Nice." I mean, it looks like he's going to be on the move. The smart money would be on him coming to United, because obviously Sir Jim Ratcliffe owns part of Nice and owns part of Manchester United. However, you never know, and also that could open up a can of worms. There's already a little bit of drama going on with the fact that Sir Jim Ratcliffe owns both Nice and Manchester United, with this story about whether United will have to drop out of the Europa League and go into the Europa Conference because Nice finished higher in their league than Manchester United finished in theirs. And this is sort of UEFA rules about multi-ownership models. You can't sort of, if you're owned by if you're owned by the same person, if two clubs are owned by the same person or the same organisation, then they can't be in the same competition. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll find out on Monday whether there is going to be any sort of pushback on United being in the Europa League. Whether that's going to be them having to drop down the conference or not, we'll have to wait and see, because I mean, hopefully it doesn't come to that. That'd be pretty disastrous if it did, because I don't really think anyone fancies the Europa Conference. And if you're actually going in the Europa Conference just because you're owned by Sir Jim Ratcliffe, it's not a great start, is it, for Ineos, if one of their first sort of influences on the club is to stop us being in the Europa League. The Europa League is not the most exciting competition. I'm sure it's, not everyone's like, oh, we need to get in the Europa this season. We're all open for Champions League football, but it's better than the conference. I was looking at the teams in the Europa Conference and I didn't recognise half of them. And you've been there in the Europa League. It's a good competition. You play some big clubs in there. We played Bayern Munich, played Barcelona in there not so long ago. We played Ajax in that competition, Milan. There's some big teams in that competition. It's not really the case with the Europa Conference. No disrespect to them, but you saw it last night. Fiorentina again in the final, again losing, and Olympiacos. That shows you it's not quite the same level as the Europa League, as you'd expect. Let's talk about Branthwaite. There's a story doing the rounds that you can see here. Man United are hopeful they can sign top summer transfer target for half the asking price. It says Manchester United are heading the race to sign Everton star Jarrad Branthwaite and reportedly hope to sign him for as little as 40 million this summer. It says here a centre-half, a defensive midfielder and a striker are on United's lists of summer targets, having identified the 21-year-old England hopeful as a long-term option at the back. Eric Ten Hag's current options in defence were ravaged by injury this season, with changes expected in the summer months. Raphael Varane is set to leave Old Trafford, with Johnny Evans also out of contract. Harry Maguire is wanted by West Ham United once again, with Victor Lindelof also among the clutch of players who have been made available for transfer. So, looks like we're looking at several players here, linked with Todibo, linked with Jarrad Branthwaite, trying to get these deals done at a lower price. I'm going to get into that, the new sort of policy that could be happening under Ineos when it comes to transfers. Santa Notch in the chat says 40 million maximum. Faraz Khan says, go on Jay, Todibo or Branthwaite, who would you choose? It depends for me on Branthwaite, what his fee is. If Branthwaite's fee is 60, 70 million and Todibo's is a lot less, I'd go with Todibo. I think United have got to be careful this summer. We need to bring in a few players. We need a left back, we need a defensive midfielder, we need a striker, we probably need a right winger, and we need a centre back as well. You can't spend £70 million on one centre back if you've only got, say, 180 or 200 million to spend across all those. We might even have that across all those positions. Then you're going to leave yourself short. If you're going to spend like a third of your transfer budget on one centre-back, and you've got to get a left-back, you've got to get a defensive midfielder, and you've got to get a striker, you can't not get those players in those positions. It is absolutely essential. I don't think it works that well. I don't think that makes any sense. However, if you can get Branthwaite for, say, 45, 50 million, maybe a push, yeah, I could see that happening. I could go for that. Akash K says Branthwaite is a left centre-back. I don't see him fitting in at Man United. Todibo is much more likely as a right centre-back. Convert Law to left centre-back as backup to Lisandro Martinez. That works for me. Sure, as backup to Lisandro Martinez. However, he was injured for much of this season, really. Half the season, a bit more than half the season. We need Luke Shaw back. I know he's in the England squad. There's talk of him playing for England in the Euros. We'll have to wait and see, though. He was pushing back earlier this week, wasn't he, on criticism he was getting when people going, oh, you're not fit for Manchester United, but you're fit for England. But as I was saying at the time, like, it is possible that he's not fit right now and he's fit later on. If it had been the other way round, if he'd have been fit for England, then all of a sudden he's not fit for United, you could kick off. But I get the fact that he might not be ready until June. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with Luke Shaw. But you've got to be honest, he's not been that great, his injury record. He had a good season the season before last, or last season, however you want to term it. I think he played 47 games in all competitions. However, last season wasn't great, or this season. And the last 4 years, I think it is, he's played around half the games. Can't really rely on someone like that. Let's talk about another transfer as well. Danny Olmo, the RB Leipzig midfielder, is one of Barca's targets, but Bayern, Liverpool, United and City have started to move for him. This is coming from Mundo Deportivo. So looks like there's going to be a bit of competition for Danny Olmo. He's 26 years old, and he's one of Barca's objectives, according to Mundo Deportivo. You've also got Munich, Liverpool, United and City in there. I mean, if it starts becoming some sort of big bidding war or whatever. I don't know. I mean, it says here, the forward who saved the termination clause to be able to leave Leipzig when he renewed for 60 million this summer with an expiration date of July 15, does not hide his hope of being able to return to Barca from where he left at the age of a cadet, but he needs the Barca club to take a step forward. So if there is a release clause there, I mean, if you're going up against those clubs, though, just from the terms of trying to convince him to come to United, who are in the Europa League, who you've not got any affiliation with, rather than going to someone like Barcelona if they are coming in for him, or maybe Bayern Munich, it'd be a pretty hard sell. I mean, I don't know. Let me know what you think. Do you know a lot about him, and do you want him at Manchester United? Eric Dalton says his price will go up after the Euros. Hyde Hill says Olmo is great, just not a position that is needed with limited PSR. Also, Gay Hano says Danny won't be coming to United. The 5 rules means he's too old. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Let's talk about Sir Jim Ratcliffe's spending then, because this is a story that's been doing the rounds. I think it's in the Telegraph. Mike McGrath has been on the channel. It says Sir Jim Ratcliffe demands end to reckless Man United spending. Extravagant backing, which Erik ten Hag received, will soon be a thing of the past as club intends to focus on bringing through young players. Now, this has been doing the rounds just a little bit. It says here, you can see the rest of it. Sir Jim Ratcliffe will demand that Manchester United prepares for next season within tight profit and sustainability rules in a severe end to extravagant net spending. Ratcliffe and his Ineos team are currently reviewing the position of Erik ten Hag, and whoever is in charge is likely to be working under a budget that is a far cry from the £175 million spent on players last summer, with emphasis on youth brought into the first team squad. This is the problem here. You see it here. It says here, ten Hag was backed in the market during his 2 summers at Old Trafford, spending more than 200 million in his first window after arriving from Ajax in 2022, including the disastrous £86 million move for Brazil winger Antony. Yeah, Antony's a stick that's often used to beat Erik ten Hag, and I get why the club don't just want to throw loads of money on players, especially players that, if Erik ten Hag does keep his job, just ones he knows from the Dutch league. That seems to be the transfer policy. We're hoping that Ineos can have this new structure now where you come in and you go, look, we're going to identify players, we're going to have a limit on the amount we're going to spend on per player, and if the budget, if the price is too high, we're going to walk away. Because we didn't walk away from any of those transfers, really, did we? We didn't walk away from the Anthony one. That was a big one. We didn't walk away from the Mason Mount one. We didn't walk away from the Onana one. We paid whatever we needed to pay. And we've been doing that for years. You go back to Harry Maguire, you go back to Paul Pogba, you go back to Romelu Lukaku, you go back to Aaron Wan-Bissaka. We've always ended up paying pretty much what the selling club wanted. And that's been an issue at Manchester United, and that is something that is going to be fixed. Got to be fixed. Phobos Takumon said, would be nice to get some deals agreed in principle before the Euros, because if any targets have a good tournament, we'll end up paying double or more. It would. It'd also be nice to know who the manager is before the Euros. That'd be good, wouldn't it? We're still no clearer on whether it's going to be Erik ten Hag or it's going to be someone else who comes in and manages Manchester United. I mean, I know it's only 5 days after the FA Cup final, so you've got to have a little bit of breathing space. But you think if it was going to be Erik ten Hag, they should have come out by now and backed him and said, look, he's our guy. Or they might still be doing this review. It's weird to me, because you'd have thought this review would have been done. This would have been done by now. We were hearing that it was done, and we were hearing that they more or less made the decision. Then you have that one game, the FA Cup final. Then there's another review, or the review hasn't finished. Well, if the review's already done and then you've had one more game, surely the rest of the review is focusing on the impact of that other game. Shouldn't take that long, really, should it? It just makes me... I think Erik ten Hag might be going me. I think they're reluctant to do it straight after the FA Cup final and trying to give themselves a little bit of a buffer, give him a week or two, and then announce it when there's a little bit less anger because we've not just won the FA Cup. I think it's a mistake. I think Erik ten Hag should keep his job. Will he keep his job? I don't think so. I hope I'm wrong, especially when I see the alternative candidates that are being suggested. Tuchel got a good CV, didn't do well at Bayern Munich. De Zerbi did okay at Brighton. I think, did he finish 11th? Had a pretty average second half of the season. I don't think he's done enough for me to warrant the Manchester United job. Who else is in that mix? Thomas Frank finished 16th at Brentford. All right. I know he's not limited resources there, but is that enough to give you the United job? And then you've got other suggestions which are ludicrous, including Gareth Southgate. If Gareth Southgate becomes Manchester United manager, then I don't think I'll be renewing, even though I already have. I'll have to cancel. Hit that like button as well, please, people. Let's get the likes up. Over 1,000 people watching. We've not even hit 200 likes. There's a story doing the rounds here, which is a bit of a funny one. And this is about Speed, the kid. IShowSpeed. Does all FIFA and all that sort of stuff. And you can tell I'm well up on the cutting edge of culture, mate. He's on the internet. He's a YouTuber. He does a lot of stuff. Everyone knows who he is. There's been a bit of a outrage about him being at the FA Cup final, and it seems to have grown momentum, all this, because he was at the FA Cup final. There was a video doing the rounds of someone giving him a bit of grief because he was sort of standing up saying, yeah, come on everyone, get behind the team or whatever. Then someone started shouting at him and telling him to sort of pipe down. So there was a little bit of that. Then people questioning him, how has he got a ticket for the FA Cup final? How's he getting a ticket when other fans can't get tickets? Now there's this stuff where he was at the post-match party. There's videos of him with the likes of Rasmus Højlund, with the likes of Alejandro Garnacho, one or two others as well. Again, people questioning that. There's a story here, I think this is in the Mail, saying Manchester United staff are angry at YouTuber IShowSpeed for attending the club's FA Cup victory party, or after party, while they were not invited after Ineos cancelled post-match bash. Now, listen, I get people frustrated if you can't get a ticket for the cup final and you see a YouTuber. Always a controversial one, isn't it, when us YouTubers are at the game and you haven't got a ticket or whatever. But he is a celebrity. I think he's got 20 million subscribers or followers. He is big in the game, as he say. And I know it's new media, which always feels a little bit different. If he'd have been, we see Ollie Mers and people like that at the game. Are they in the ballot? Is that someone who's been doing all the hard sort of miles and been going to every game in the cup scheme to make sure he gets his final ticket? Probably not. Celebrities getting tickets for the cup final is nothing new. It has been happening since cup finals were a thing. And also as well, there's lots of people at Wembley that probably don't go every week. I was in the posh bit, managed to get a ticket in the posh bit, and there were people around me that some of them weren't even Reds. They weren't even United fans. They were sat in the United. This was the United bit, the posh bit. But some of them were, I think they were Club Wembley. That's not a word. Club Wembley members and stuff like that. So you're always going to get that cup final. He's, from what I gather, he's a United fan. He's in a United kit. He's singing for United. He's making content around it all and hanging around with the players. So it doesn't really bother me that much, if I'm being brutally honest. Maybe it's because I'm a YouTuber as well. But I'm just used to it. I'm used to seeing celebrities get to games. It's been happening for years. Did Mick Hucknall go to every game when he used to get tickets? Did Ian Brown? Probably not. Did Ollie Mers? No. It always happens. And it's just one of them where I'm like, okay, whatever. And then there's this whole party thing. He was at the party with the players. I presume one of the players invited him. He seems to be quite pally with Alejandro Garnacho. So I presume that's how he got in there. I doubt very much that he just gate crashed it. Yes, the staff might be upset because they didn't get to go or whatever, but if the players are inviting him as almost their +1 or whatever, what are you going to do? Say no to the players? And it can be frustrating. Listen, we've been invited to stuff the players have invited us to, and the club have said no. We've been chucked out of stuff that some players that we know have invited us to, and the club has said, hang on a minute, you're not coming in here, or this isn't happening, or you need to leave, or you can't do that because we're not going to let you. So it's like we're caught in the worst of both worlds here. I can look at it and go, you know what, I know kids who couldn't get a ticket to the final and he's getting one. And we've been in a situation where we've been invited to parties or training or whatever, or to do an interview, and we've been told no. It happens. So I understand why there is a level of frustration. But if the players have invited him, if they like his content, if he interacts with them, if they're pally with him, I ain't got an issue with it. I get the fact that this is a whole new world we live in. I'm 44 years old. I don't understand all of it, if I'm being brutally honest. My kids love Speed. My lad thinks he's great. He probably is very, very good at what he does. He's certainly very popular. So, live and let live. That's my motto. Isaac Dayton says, nice to see you at Wembley, Jay. I wonder, right, if that is Angus Dayton's son. Because I did chat to him, I think, at Wembley. Or I might be completely wrong, and if it isn't, forgive me. Yeah, I'm going to wrap it up there. I mean, loads of people getting involved in the comments about Speed. Let me know what you think. Richard James says, YouTubers think they're summer, lol. See you next Tuesdays. Yeah, bloody YouTubers, eh? Think the summer, don't they, are they? Half of them aren't even United fans. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Make sure you are hitting like, share, and subscribe. I'm Jay Motty. This has been a Paper Talk. We're going to be back later on. We've got an interview coming up with Sam Pilger. We've also got myself, Adam McCullough, and Joe Smith doing an Off the Bar special where we're going to be looking at players that should be kept and players that we should get rid of. Don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.